Hello and welcome to Blindway Business News, where today we're joined by a company at the very start of its corporate journey. That company is Pharma C, P-H-A-R-M-A-C, Pharma C. And we're joined by the Chief Executive, Chana Greenberg. Hannah, welcome to Blindway Business News. Tell us a little bit, a quick overview of the company and what your plans are.
Thanks, Tim, for having me on. Pharma C is an investment vehicle, and we have just announced our intention to float on the Aquis growth market in London.
Okay, so you're going to launch on the Aquis market, and you say you're an investment company. There are lots of companies currently listing in London in this whole new industry, this whole new space of cannabis. What's making Pharma C different?
So we pride ourselves on being a female-led team. We are going to be focusing on finding breakout companies that supply the goods and services for the growing medical cannabis industry, which are going to be non-plant touching.
So when you say, okay, so non-plant touching, what kind of businesses, what kind of ancillary services are you going to be looking at when you're making your investments?
We're going to be looking at all of the value chain. Ancillary means all the picks and shovels of the companies that support the medical cannabis industry. It can be anything from the genetics of the plant to make sure that those plants are growing specific targeted strains for specific medical conditions, all the way through novel extraction techniques, cultivation techniques, and all the way through to logistics and delivery to the patient. And then after that, tech companies that are going to be collecting real-world evidence and data to support medical cannabis.
Okay, so by executing an investment strategy, I suppose one way of looking at this is you de-risk the whole idea for shareholders of themselves investing in the cannabis market. So I suppose following on from that, we have to assume there's a certain amount of expertise around your management and your board to know the industry, so you can de-risk those investments. Just tell us a little bit about the experience that you and your colleagues have in the cannabis market.
We're a group of cannapreneurs, as they call it now. We've been in the medical cannabis space, so we understand the challenges of this very heavily regulated, fragmented market. We're not going to be looking at the UK, but also Europe and Israel and around the world, using our expertise and our network and identifying, key companies, growing companies that are in this space.
Now, I understand you're looking at Europe, Middle East, and in particular, you're looking at Israel. Why are you looking at those markets in particular?
So these companies are known to have, well-defined laws and regulations around medical cannabis. Everything's all about compliant medicine. Israel has is known as being a company that produces really great startups and have been in the medical cannabis industry since the early 60s with the first development and discovery of molecule CBD, cannabidiol, in 1963 and THC 63, 64 in Israel. So, and I've lived there, and I have a deep knowledge of the country and network also in that country.
Okay, so I get that. You've got an experienced board who know the industry. You yourself are experienced in Israel. But is there anything else? I mean, give me some sense of the potential size of the markets that you're looking at.
So Europe is set to be the largest medical cannabis market in the world, with 747 million people, potential consumers, and a medical spend of 2.3 trillion euros every year. It's going to be a significant market. Our board has extensive experience of proven businesses in extraction technique, in laboratory testing, and we're a significant wide network around the world to deliver on our ambitious growth strategy.
Thank you. You've announced today your intention to list on the Aquis market. As I'm sure all of our viewers and your potential investors will know, news flow is the lifeblood of small businesses. So once you're listed, what should we be looking for in terms of news coming out of Pharma C?
Well, we've already identified some great targets for us to look at potentially. We haven't made any investments yet, and we'll keep the market up to date with the investments that we make, and hope to bring our expertise and our education around medical cannabis to not just de-risk it, but educate potential investors of the opportunities that exist along the whole supply chain in medical cannabis.
Hannah, thank you for joining us. Thanks for that update. Good luck with the flotation, with the listing. And please come back and tell us more and keep us updated on the developments at Pharma C. That was Chana Greenberg, Chief Executive of Pharma C, who today have announced their intention to list on the Aquis market. That's it from Blytheway Business News for this edition. Thanks for watching.